meet in just a moment. Anything on your mind about moving to Portugal, please pop the questions into the chat and do it sooner rather than later, because we are limited to 1 hour on the Dream Team session here. So we'll get the questions in ASAP. I'm going to mute up over on YouTube in just a moment so we don't get two lots of the Dream Team. And say hello and good evening, ladies first. Well, queens first. Gilda, lovely to see you here this evening. How are you? What can you tell us about yourself and the world of migration into Portugal? How are things? We'll need you unmuted for that.
Yeah, everything is fine. The world of migration is still the same as last year. Nothing has moved so far, but we keep the faith. So
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So sorry not to see you last week. Your team did a great job. You're here, of course, Queen of the Visas, to answer any questions to do with migration into Portugal and the various visas and so on. And maybe even the odd NHR inquiry as well. Let's see. How is that going? Is it? I mean, it was feverish, wasn't it? Let's face it. At the end of last year with the NHR, have things calmed down a little bit on that now?
yes, because people that were able to run into the process until the last minute, they did, and now people that are in the process or that were able to be in the help me, Daniel, in the
regime, within the regime, yes.
Yes, within the intermediary regime.
Yes.
So now they are okay because they can do things in time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Gilda. We'll come back to you because I'm sure we'll have some migration questions either here or over on YouTube as well, where we're taking questions from members over there. Daniel, you're mentioned there by Gilda. Lovely to see you from Racing Pelicano, our man who knows about the law here in Portugal. How are you?
I'm quite all right. Thank you for asking. It's been a rainy day in Lisbon, at least the afternoon. But I'm longing for the Portuguese nice weather. We haven't had that type of weather in the winter. It has rained a bit, although not too cold. But I'm longing for the spring. So yeah.
You and me both, my friend. I bet you can't wait to get back into the water and swim, run on the land. That's right, and cycle and get into your triathlon training schedule.
Yep. That's really it.
If we get a chance to talk to you about that, maybe towards the end of the session, that'd be great because there is a thriving and growing triathlon scene here in Portugal. Of course,
for sure.
The Ironman.
I'll be glad to do.
Excellent, Ramon. Good evening to you. How are you?
Hey, Carl. Good, and you? It's been a while.
Yeah, very well. Nice to see you. Happy New Year, Bueno, to you.
Yeah,
and how is it going in the world of mortgages?
Well, the market is doing very good right now. I'm very happy to say that because it's been a while. I haven't said that, but the rate starts to decline a little bit, which is very good for us. And the banks are super hungry right now. When we compare it to the end of last year, everything is a question of objectives and everything. So right now, we have a bunch of promotional offers, and it's quite enjoyable to work these days with the banks, always ready to move forward. So that's a good moment to apply for a mortgage.
What a great way to go into 2024 there, Ramon. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The banks are hungry, as you put it there.
Exactly. That's the right word. Hungry. They are.
Really? And as my stepfather used to say, the hungry must be fed. So if people want to borrow money to buy property here in Portugal, they should
get in. That's why I'm here.
And help out a hungry banker. That's quite the campaign, isn't it? Help out a hungry banker. Any questions at all about borrowing here in Portugal, raising finance? Romain is your man here this evening to answer those questions. Fantastic. Nuno, have you had a little bit of a rest, maybe a cup of coffee after that last incredible webinar that you did for us explaining the healthcare system here in Portugal? How are you doing?
All good. The banana was good also. It was
banana in the break, you legend. The food of champions. Probably Daniel does that as well, actually, between triathlon events for that burst of energy. So thank you. You did a great job. The webinar, in case you weren't there to hear that healthcare in Portugal explained, that will be published at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel. And we can stay. Actually, no, we'll come back to you because it was a very interesting question. I think Ed and Sharon got a lot of value. They've got another question for you, which is an interesting one, which I don't entirely understand, but we will decode that one this evening here on the Dream Team session. We need to go and say hi to Steve Flack as well from the world of currency. How are you doing, Steve?
Yeah, very well, thank you. So I was a bit late. It's a new laptop, so I was just trying to get everything ready. Sorry about that.
No worries. These things can throw a spanner in the works, can't they? You've got all your passwords and everything set up on the old laptop. You get a new one, and it can cause a few problems. So how's it going in the world of currency? Is there hunger in the currency world as well?
Yeah, well, we've seen you know, a bit of movement with the dollar has come back in, you know, in a lot of the guys' favours. We've seen the sterling strengthen a bit as well. So we've
Yes, I
seen
noticed.
some good movement, which is obviously good for buyers. So you know, giving them, you know, a bit more for their dollar or for, you know, for their pounds. So yeah, it's been a bit interesting.
So people who have been waiting a little bit and maybe have taken their eye off the ball over the Christmas and New Year period, quite a good time if you're a dollar and sterling holder to have a look at what's going on with the euro at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, you know, the dollar drop. Well, so in fact, it's obviously got better. So it's got stronger, probably by a couple of cents, which is good. So I've got a few clients that have been holding off, waiting for it to improve a bit, who've taken a bit of advantage of that. And then similar with guys that are selling sterling, so where it's got a bit stronger, you know, people have, you know, jumped on the back of that. So yeah, it's not the worst time to be doing your currency.
Right. Okay. So any questions about currency, give us a shout in the chat if you want Steve to address those. And if you want to open up a currency account, you can do that as well with Spartan FX, and you can find them in the business directory as you can with all the Dream Team members here tonight. They're all available and you can contact them through the Expats Portugal business directory. I just noticed we've got Jackie as well. Jackie, you're going to be hosting the webinar next Thursday evening. Would you like to say anything about that this evening?
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about this, and originally when we talked about numbers in my last webinar, like we compared utility costs between the UK, Portugal, the US, and originally we were thinking what's behind those numbers. And in talking to Astrid, one of the things that came out was that when you look at these things more deeply, in my mind, they exceed expectations for a number of reasons. And we're going to be exploring that. And that rarely happens in life, honestly. How often does something actually exceed your expectations? And when going through all of these subjects that we talked about in my last webinar, I want to, like, something as simple as we talked about the cost of a movie theater. But, you know, let's look at that. And, you know, how even in Portugal, I just found this out, Hotel Bahia Cascais in the summer has an outdoor theater at the top of the hotel, and all these beautiful places that you could see art house films because they're usually in historic buildings.
Fantastic.
So there's so many more things that, you know, beyond the price of a less expensive ticket.
Yeah.
There's so much more to everything.
All
so
right.
we're going to be exploring that.
We maybe can play amazing experience top trumps as well, can't we? So we'll invite other people to chip in next Thursday night with amazing experiences that you might not necessarily find on the regular tourist trail or in your daily life here in Portugal. So looking forward to that, Jackie.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun because there's just we're going to look at the same topics, but I think people adding to those topics would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Okay, so that's 7:30 next Thursday evening, a week today, in the 7:30 webinar slot. Okay, let's go to the chat then and pick up a few questions and also hellos. A few people checking in, celebrating milestones. We love that. Hi from Hollywood, California, from Donovan. Susie, hello from San Francisco. Soon to be saying hello from Tamar. Sounds like you're looking forward to that. We're working on the weather here, as Daniel was saying earlier on. Spring in Tamar will be fantastic, Susie. Donovan, my question then is, if I start today, around how long would it take to actually move into an apartment in Porto, generally speaking? Have we got a Casa Portuguesa? Did I overlook anyone from Casa Portuguesa this evening? Well, I think Gilda will certainly be able to pick that up and give you a rough guide to how long a Casa Portuguesa take to find you an apartment in Porto. I think that's down to you then, Gilda. as the genius behind the system that is Casa Portuguesa, of course, an idea you had many years ago, and which is helping people successfully find rentals and places to buy here in Portugal, right?
Yeah. So to find an apartment to rent in Porto,
Yes, please.
it will depend if the person is here or not here.
Okay, that's for Donovan, who is in Hollywood. So let's assume they're
Okay,
not.
so let's assume he's not here.
And let's assume we go and visit, maybe. This is our big break, actually, Gilda. Why don't we go and you and me go and visit Donovan in Hollywood and see if we get discovered? No, okay. Let's go back to scenario A then. Okay.
From start getting the bank account, etc., moving in. Well, the visa, etc. You mean the whole process?
Well, the first question I've seen from Donovan is how long to get the apartment in Porto. I thought that was just the sort of
No, but he says now, well, I'm
further?
actually asking from start getting a bank account, visa, etc. to moving in.
Perfect.
Okay, Donovan. So the whole
that.
process, you should be aware it's going to take about 9 to 12 months.
Okay, and we do like that creative visualization there, Donovan. Imagine yourself being sat in Porto. But there you go, 9 to 12 months. Any more questions? Send them our way, Donovan. Hello all from Larry. Hello, Larry. Finally adjusting almost to Arizona time and missing you all after our 2-month stay here in Portugal. Looking forward to returning to the apartment in San Martino de Porto. Good choice, sir. In February, March.
Yeah.
And we'll try not to forget and just check into Storytellers for another 28 days. The legendary Storytellers Hotel. Glad you enjoyed that, Larry. If you've got any questions tonight, pop them in the chat. Hello again from Canada. Now, this is going back to you, Nuno, I think, from Ed and Sharon. Does any other municipality have any program like this? Figueira da Foz, apparently, has a municipality healthcare plan for people aged 66 and over. This is completely new to me, Nuno. I'm not sure what this is about. Does this ring any bells for you?
Yes, it's true. And we were involved on one municipality health plan. Is not Castelo Branco, is above Castelo Branco.
Okay.
These plans are settled to, actually, they are tailored to deal with the very lack of healthcare. So it has to overtake the lack of basically of doctor appointments. Okay, basically this. So it's not a health insurance plan. The municipalities, they pay very low for that, very, very low.
Okay.
So they don't get much, but it's something. And actually, because these plans usually they are placed on locations at the interior, which is not the case of Figueira da Foz, but usually are at the interior locations, which have no doctors, no facilities. So usually, but it's mainly to doctor appointments, mainly, not only, but mainly to doctor appointments and some nursing care.
Right.
Okay?
So it's where there's a shortfall, the municipality is stepping in and offering some sort of provision for its local residents.
Yes. They insure all the people living there, everyone.
Okay.
So they can get a very low cost per person.
Yes.
And this is used to give assistance to the one that need assistance. But it's basically this: doctor appointments and some nursing care.
So in some ways, some people moving to Portugal might factor that in. However, you're not going to get a massive amount of value. You're just going to get some basic coverage, and it's worth augmenting that with a private policy as well.
Yes, if they need a surgery,
it's not going to be happening on that.
No.
Do you think that's going to continue then as a trend among municipalities?
Has been a slowly trend.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Slowly trend.
All right.
Not by the main cities, not followed by main cities.
No, fair enough. Okay, because that's going to be a different matter altogether, isn't it, with the population density and so on. And Figueira da Foz, not an entirely bad place to end up. Either a nice, well loved by Portuguese people, I think, for holiday homes. Figueira da Foz, part of the Silver Coast. Back in UK, thanks Nuno for that. And thank you for the question, Ed and Sharon. Any more questions? You know where to ask. Back in UK to work for a few weeks, but Gilda and the team were amazing with all of their help with visa application, house hunting, and all manner of other things. Many thanks. Back February the 1st, a lovely testimony for you and team there, Gilda, if you could pass that on in the morning. And with Donovan's question, in terms of that time scale.
I don't wait for the morning. I already take pictures and put in the group.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Oh, yeah, that's got on the Works WhatsApp, is it? A nice little testimonial there. And somebody was saying it was 11 months. Forgive me, I can't find who said that now, but working start to finish, I think, with the EI was 11 months there. I'll come back to that anyway. So thanks for that, Robert, there. And Phyllis Alabonoit from South Florida. We have had the pleasure of having Carla from Casa Portuguese to hold our hands as we search for our accommodations. That's probably for you, Donovan. We could not have gotten through this process without Carla. Thank you, Portuguesa. Another screenshot there. Many thanks to Raisin Pelicano. This you can send this to yourself, Daniel. It's the screenshot. I found a house to lease on my own. Oh, RMP took care of all the due diligence, reviewed and edited the lease. Good work, Susie. Reviewed and edited the lease agreement, communicated with the landlord, etc., having their team looking after us to be sure everything was as it should be, priceless. So not entirely on your own. Some very important parts of the process there that Daniel and Raisin Pelicano have taken care of. Could you give us a little bit more of an insight into that, Daniel? What are you doing for people and what should they let you do rather than take on themselves so as to stay out of trouble?
Well, we basically review the rental contracts. We don't do a house hunting. That's usually on Gilda's side, but we reviewed the rental contracts. And if the contract is not up to spec, if it doesn't respect the Portuguese law, we will put it in terms that is respecting the Portuguese law. We will negotiate the terms and conditions of the contract with the realtors or with the homeowner. And basically, we will alter the contract as it should. And we usually do the contract bilingual, so one column Portuguese and one column English, so the client knows what he is signing or what we are signing on behalf of the client. Because in some specific situations, if the client is not in Portugal, we can sign the contract on behalf of the client, so he has an operating rental contract before he even comes to the country. So that's all possible to be done at a distance, as long as the client points us out in the correct direction, and this is obtaining a property that he wants to rent. So basically, as long as the client lets us know what is the house that he wants to rent, we will be able to handle the rest.
Brilliant. And is it fair to say that the influx of foreigners and demand on leases has changed how some of the landlords have been wording their contracts?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Especially before, I would say before 2015, 16, before this influx of foreign people coming to Portugal, you wouldn't see people requesting a year's rent upfront. And this is quite common nowadays, unfortunately, and this is illegal. So it's really specified in the Portuguese law that the landlord can only ask for 2 rents upfront and 1 security deposit, 1 calção, as we would say in Portugal. So this is what's clearly stated in the law, but there's a lot of landlords that do not respect the law in that regard. I do understand some of the concerns that they have, because usually foreigners, they don't have someone to basically sign or co-sign the contract with them, and so they don't have a fiador, as we would call it here in Portugal. And therefore, if the contract is not fully fulfilled, if the rents are not paid, then it's difficult for the landlord to go and chase a foreign citizen that may already have moved out of the country. And that's why a person to co-sign, to vouch for the tenant is relevant. So it does create a problem of trust or mistrust between tenants and landlords, and that's why the landlords are indeed requesting more months up front. Although again, this is a legal practice. But let's say that the tenant doesn't have any other option. Sometimes that's an unfortunate reality. There's no problem for the tenant in accepting paying more rents up front. This is something that I would like to be completely clear, but it's not a legal practice in the market, but it's common, I would say.
Right. Okay. And with the fiador, with the guarantor, Nuno
Guarantor, yeah.
has a solution there as well. There is an insurance available, isn't there, Nuno?
Oh yeah, yeah.
With that, and to put a potential landlord's mind at rest with that as well. So if anyone needs that, you can check that out with Nuno as well. Thank you, Susie, then for that, for sharing that with us, and thank you, Daniel, for letting us know what you can do for people as well. Steve, how lovely to hear from you. I have a residential lease in hand thanks to Claudia. EI. You've also connected with Raquel at Lighthouse Consulting. That's good to hear. And now I just need the San Francisco consulate to open D8 appointments. How likely, what do you think with that, Gilda? D8 appointments, generally speaking, how's it going in the world of appointments, and are people getting any?
I'm not hearing a lot of complaints, so I think it has been quite easy, and there were many people giving up because they did appointments like crazy for getting the NHR, and then they got the NHR and they canceled the appointments. So it's just a matter of being with some attention, and sometimes you just need to change the browser because it's
yes, yeah. What what is it like? Refresh the cache.
Yes.
Your computer may have made some of its own notes, which might prejudice your chances of getting a fresh appointment. So that's worth whatever it is, unburdening your cache, or whatever the technical term is for doing that. That's a good point to make there, Gilda. I think incognito mode also might help as well, or use a different browser. Mix it up a bit. So that's a great little hack and a tip there. So thank you, and good to see and hear that good news from you, Steve Hilson, as well. Colleen, shout out to Steve. Thank you for being my guy at Spartan FX. I appreciate you. We love that. To see people have their favorites at Spartan FX. Steve's here tonight, and Colleen. That's Colleen's favorite is Steve. Question for Nuno from Susie. Once the prescription is covered under the public system, what is the purpose of prescription coverage with private insurance? Belt and braces, is it, Nuno?
Okay, so the prescription is covered under the public, which means that there are a copay, the state do a copay, and we do the remain. So do the copay. This portion that we pay is what we can get from the insurance. Okay. Usually, if we have a prescription of a medicine that is co-participated by the Portuguese state, the insurer will reimburse on 100%, so the full remain. If was not funded by the Portuguese state, in that case, the insurer's co-participation could be 50 or 30%, depending on the plan that you have. Usually it works this way.
All right, thanks, Nuno. Good question from Joanna A over on YouTube. This is about citizenship, because there have been some changes there. We'll come back to you, Daniel, on that in just a moment. Benoit from Tom Smith in Ohio, where it warmed up to -2, not looking forward to between 20 and 30 centimeters of snow tomorrow. We've had that in rain. We haven't had that in snow here in Portugal, Tom. That's amazing. And Ed and Sharon, talking, this is a foreign language to us Portuguese. Who will you be cheering? Will you be cheering for the Bills now that the Browns are out? Go Niners. We don't understand that here in Portugal. I'm guessing it's, is it ice hockey possibly there? Larry, testimonial, another screenshot for you, Gilda. Gilda and the EI team were rock stars. getting us from fiscal number to NHR approval in less than a month. Is that a world record? Muito obrigado. If it's not a world record, it's pretty darn good. And that's another screenshot to the team there. My leave was formally approved for my first visit to Portugal in April. Celebrating milestones, that's a good one. Leave approved there, so Tom can come to Portugal for April. That's fantastic. Apparently, Gilda, we will be discovered if we go to Hollywood, for sure, but not in the way we want to be. Okay, so maybe we'll scrap that plan. Donovan, I think we've answered your question then. It was Susie who said the entire process took 11 months. We started in April last year and we are moving into our house in March. Good work. Our visa was approved at the end of December. So you could say 7 months technically. Brilliant feedback, Susie. We're just choosing to move in March. Yes to EI to A. Do not try to do all of this on your own. Worth every penny. So there you go. Great testimonials tonight. Tom asking, when you apply for a D7, how far in advance can you apply before your projected move date? Good, excellent question there from Tom to you, Gilda.
Sorry, I was still thinking about Susie's words. What was the question?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can have a bit longer if you want to bask in the glory. Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
When you apply for a D7, how far in advance can you apply before your projected move date?
How far in advance? Well, my suggestion would be 6 months.
Okay. I took a big sip of coffee there thinking that might be a longer answer, but let's just go with 6 months there.
Oh, 6 months, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Why? Because it takes 2 to 3 months to be approved. And then you have 90 days, 3 months to come to Portugal. So
Okay.
6 months.
Great, there you go,
Fine.
Tom. Let's stay with you, Gilda. Another quickie from Ed and Sharon. I know there is a D7, but the tourist visa, do you need to visit the consulate, say perhaps the consulate in Toronto to secure this, or do you even need a visa, I should say, for a 4-month stay? And there's a bit of confusion there, isn't there? Because the tourist visa is actually 90 days, isn't it, rather than 4 months? And who needs to apply for that, or can you just arrive?
Well, if you are a Canadian citizen, you don't need to apply for a tourist visa. And that will be for 3 months, not 4.
Not 4 months there, as you were suggesting, Ed and Sharon. So yeah, how many countries do and don't need to apply for, or let Portugal know they're arriving, Gilda? It's not a problem, is it, at all? Obviously, for anyone else, EU, Schengen, for UK, for US, Canada. What countries are asked to apply before coming?
Well, you need to check, but for instance, Turkey, they need a visa. Morocco, which is very close to Portugal, but they need a visa. Even the Portuguese ex-colonies, like Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, they need visas to come to Portugal.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's all checkable, obviously, on.
Yes, so you need to check country by country.
All right, but for you, Ed and Sharon, no problem. You've got 3 months, pretty much, 90 days, not 4 months, and you can come on that tourist visa, and you don't need to apply in advance. Let's go to Linda Kay, because there's a live question coming in from Linda. How are you this evening?
I'm in heaven.
I'm so glad to hear
that. Oh my God!
I'm a little bit reluctant to ask you over these last few weeks, but tell us why, if you will.
Gilda, just before the Nunu's wonderful presentation, I got an email from the consulate that they have approved my second visa.
Brilliant.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Thank you.
Your second visa on your new passport?
Well, no, just the second visa. I had one visa before on the old, but when the visa was lost or stolen, we went through all of that. I just want everyone to know that you and your wonderful EI have carried me through all of this, and especially to Renata now, and to Carolina and Claudia as well. I wouldn't have had the courage or the know-how to do it myself.
Oh, bless
So
you.
thank you.
Linda.
And
you
thank
so
you
much.
for all this wonderful community that you have made for us.
Oh, you're starting me off here now as well. There are a few dry eyes in the house, Linda. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank
sharing
you.
that
Thank
with us
you.
tonight. Oh, bless you.
That's it.
Because it's been quite the journey, hasn't it, one way or another?
Yeah.
So wonderful to hear that news tonight.
Now, the
And
only thing I want to know from Daniel, what kind of sailing have you talked about?
Talked about, well, I just did some crazy thing. I bought a sailboat in a Azores, and I'm refurbishing it. So I will sell the Azorian Islands for sure in the
Oh, wow.
next months or years. So
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I'm a star sailor. I know that there is a group, there is a star organization in Lisbon and in Cascais, I think. But anyway,
what is
Cascais,
that,
okay.
Linda? What is this? What are star sailors? They sound totally cosmic.
the Star is the oldest the oldest Olympic sailing boat. It's been around for 100 years.
Yeah,
It's an amazing boat. If you can, well, it's small, but if you can sail that thing, you can sail anything.
I
I
see.
have one, but I wouldn't say I can sail it very well. I was just hoping that maybe Daniel would say, yeah, that's what I've got.
May I add something about, I belong to the Cascais Yacht Club. And what I love about it is incredibly inexpensive. So I moved from Marblehead. I used to live in Marblehead, Mass, which is the sailing capital of the US. And, you know, we're Washington, crossing the Delaware, we're Marblehead men. And these yacht clubs were incredibly expensive. And because now I belong to the Cascais Yacht Club, I am now, you know, they give, what is it? Like, I can go to certain yacht clubs all over the world because I belong to Cascais. And I can finally go into the yacht club in Marblehead I could never afford because
That's brilliant.
That's
well,
wonderful.
it's only $500 a year. Okay, it's 500 euros a year. And I think those were like, I don't know, 70, a couple of 100,000 or something the fee was. And for 500, I could just go.
Is this
That's
is
great.
this in the
Good to
presentation
know.
next week? This should be included in next week's presentation, I think. And also, now you've let the cat out of the bag there, Jackie. Any meetings in Cascais with Jackie need to be G&Ts at the sailing club, right? It's got to be the best venue for a lovely meeting
There
with
you
Jackie.
go. But
Fantastic.
anyway,
Linda, thank you.
Gilda, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Right.
You're welcome. But what
have
about the
taken-
passport? When are you going? You need to wait for the new passport to go and put this new visa.
Oh, I already have the new passport, but I have to send it to the consulate to get it stamped. But
okay,
I'm
but now it's going to be easy. Okay.
yeah. Except I probably won't have a SEP IMA appointment, but that's we'll take
Progress.
care of that when that happens. So
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
been
for
great.
sharing that. And maybe for team meeting tomorrow morning, Gilda, you can rewind on the YouTube channel and
Yeah.
show the team that moment, because that's not really a screenshot, is it? That's a real beautiful moment there that
Yeah.
sharing with us, and
Yeah,
that's
it is. It has been a
immortalized on
long
our
time.
YouTube channel as well. There with both of us crying, Linda. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
And
Oh,
also,
Linda, thank you. You deserve it.
while we're on the matter of sailing, because there seem to be so many sailors here, Daniel probably knows this, but over in the Azores, there is the great Senor Madruga, Genuino Madruga, right? He's the single-handed sailor, isn't he, around the world twice, I believe.
Twice. I've been to his restaurant. He keeps to himself. He is over there in the restaurant. The food is really nice. He keeps to himself, but if you approach him, he will be more than happy to talk about his adventures. So it's a really nice place to go. It's in the island where I have my boat in Fayal. So yes, definitely a visit to Genuino in Fayal, and of course to Peter's Cafe Sport. That's a lovely environment to be in, with a lot of sailor stories. So two of the major restaurants in Fayal that I can recommend and vouch for because they're lovely.
And his restaurant is also like a visitor center museum as well, isn't it? Where you can find.
Yep. He has pieces from everywhere in the world that he has visited, books, clothing, and other types of items. So it's really excellent. When you're sitting down at the table has glass, so you're seeing pieces that he collected all over the world just while you're eating. So it's really lovely. And the name of the restaurant, Genuino, it means genuine or a trustworthy or truthful person. It's quite a catchy name, so it's indeed a good reference, Carl.
I think he lived up to his parents' expectations of him well and truly, didn't he? What a legend!
For sure.
Portuguese role model in the sailing world there. Fantastic. And you having a boat over there as well. That's amazing. And another brilliant reason.
It is. The worst part of it is that Fayal does lack a bit in having the travel lift with the capabilities of lifting some boats like mine. So heavier boats, they will not be able to be lifted in Fayal, and I'll need to travel to one other island. And this is my struggle at the current moment. But I'll get there, and I'll put the boat to be seaworthy and back to being in the middle of the waves where it deserves to. So I'm earning for that. I'm really want to see that boat sailing again, and I'm refurbishing little by little.
Fantastic, Captain Haddock. I mean, Daniel, sorry. Okay, sorry. So back down to earth then with a bump. Sorry to bring it up, NHR, but here our VHS appointments are in February 24, made before December 31st, all important date there. We signed our rental agreement with our landlady on December the 28th, but she didn't register with Finances until after January the 1st. Probably because of the holidays or something. We really don't know. Are we likely to qualify for the NHR, assuming our D7 visa goes well? So I think that's the question mark there is over when the rental agreement was registered with Finances. It was signed on December the 28th. What do you make of that, Gilda?
I think that we can make it because according to the law, the landlady has 30 days to make the registration.
Oh, good. Okay, that will be good news for Rebecca Rach, I'm guessing there then. Okay, so it wasn't ice skating, ice hockey, I mean, alone ice skating. It was NFL, which I think stands for National Football League. But these folks from the United States and Canada are going to have to get used to a different kind of football altogether when you come over here to Portugal. Is it true, says Gail, that the consulate must approve or reject a D7 application within 60 working days after the consulate appointment? Is that true? And is there anything that gets done if it hasn't been, Gilda?
Yes, it's true, but in practice, good luck.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I was fearing that. You're absolutely right, Gail. But as it turns out, there's not a great deal that will be done about that, certainly in the current climate, right? Lynette, I have a 12-month rental agreement for an Airbnb studio in the landlady's home for my D8 visa application. The landlady is allowing me to give 5 days notice if I would like to terminate the contract. Please, could Daniel or Gilda confirm if this is an acceptable arrangement? Now, Airbnbs were okay for the D7 back in the day, no longer possible. Is it okay for the D8 here in this instance, Gilda?
But she said it's 12 year?
12 months.
12 months in an Airbnb?
Yeah, so maybe the Airbnb is giving.
So it's not an Airbnb anymore.
There you go.
So
Lynette,
it's a 12 months. It's a 12 months lease agreement.
I think if you want to clarify on that, Lynette, but that sounds pretty straightforward. It's not really Airbnb, is it? It's a 12-month rental agreement, as Gilda says there. Ed and Sharon, so then picking up on the tourist visa from Canada, if you want to stay for 4 months, you have to somehow get an extension from the 90 days. How doable is that, coming on a 90-day tourist visa and then staying for an extra month? How would that work? Could it work, in fact?
Yeah. Okay. So before we had these problems with SEF working badly, and then SEF that turned into AIMA. And according to the law, it should work like this. You came with a 3 months visa, which is not a visa. And then after 3 months, you go to a SEF office and you ask for an extension. And then they would put you a visa in your passport, like a sticker in your passport saying that you are entitled to stay in the country for another 3 months, because it would work for 3, and then exceptionally they will give you another 3, but then if you present very strong reasons for that.
Now, I would just like to stay for another month, a very strong reason.
Yes, but in that case, they would give you 3 months, because the extensions work from 3 to 3 months.
Yeah.
They would give you extensions for 3 months. But now, since the COVID came, 3 years ago, since 3 years ago, we are going to 4th year now, they stopped doing the extensions, and they just tell you, well, it's automatically renewed.
Okay.
So you can stay as far as you want. What happens is that once you exceed your state, then you need to be away from the country or the Schengen area for more than 6 months.
Right.
Before you can come in again.
So the UK presents itself, given what's gone on in the UK in the last few years, as a good option as an offshore retreat.
Yes.
You wanted to use it in that way, and the UK could market itself as such. But there you go. That's what you're up against there, Ed and Sharon. I think we might want to talk to you live. If you're happy to do that, Ed and Sharon, on streaming to YouTube and live here tonight, go ahead.
Okay, so just to be clear, she said that we're there for 3 months. It used to be you'd have to get an SEF appointment, but now you don't. It just automatically renews.
Yes.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay,
but then you need to make your calculations to come back.
Yes, and
yeah.
Does
it was just going to be 4 months, and then we come back and we make our plans, apply for our D7, and then move.
Okay.
So let's say for not being personal or specific here, but somebody comes for 90 days, they end up staying for 4 months, they go home and they apply for a D7. The CEF or IMA records would say these people kind of outstayed their welcome, but it was okay to do so. Would that count against them in any way in a future visa application?
No, I never saw that in practice.
Okay, good to know. All right,
No.
thank you. I just thought I'd ask that question there.
No.
All right, thanks, Ed and Sharon, for that. And go Niners. That's the San Francisco 49ers, Gilda. 49 is a reference to the 1849 California Gold Rush. Not to be confused with the 2024 Portugal Rush that we're part of at the moment. Look at this, Linda. Lots of lovely messages for you. Debbie saying, Parabéns, Linda. Yay, Linda, from Rebecca. Go, girl. Glad it worked out for you. Yay, Linda. Congratulations from Grace and Charlie as well. Wonderful. Linda from Denise. Bon voyage and enjoy Portugal. How lovely. Question from Lloyd. Do you know if the D7 visa processing times in Australia are standard, or if it takes longer in this part of the world? What's your comment on D7 visa processing in Australia, Gilda?
According to the law, it's the same. But in fact, in practice, they take a little longer because they are short of staff.
Okay. All right.
Consulate.
There you go. So taking a little bit longer in Australia.
Yeah, like 3 months.
All right. Grace and Charlie, look, it's funny, isn't it? These subjects come up and then suddenly you realize that a lot of people are interested in, for example, sailing. Awesome, say Grace and Charlie. I used to sell e-scows, is that right? Escos and other random larger boats competitively. I love sailing. So cool. Hadn't even considered that yet. So that's so exciting. So there's maybe scope then, Jackie, for a sailors group on the forum, right? Sailors Anonymous or something like that on the forum. Raman, just a reminder there for Raman that any mortgage questions, Raman's email address is in there. Good time to feed the hungry bankers at the moment. Gail has a question about baggage certificates. This hasn't come up for a little while. I've been hearing about something called a baggage certificate. This is nothing to do with psychotherapy, incidentally. We're going to find out what exactly it is from children in a moment. Issued by consulates to allow you to bring personal household items in your luggage when arriving in Portugal, so you don't have to pay customs duties on them. How and when do you get a baggage certificate, Gilda?
You get a luggage certificate once you get your visa approved. and you can send to someone, or if you work with us, you can send it to us to make the change of address in your tax change of your tax residency, because you are only going to be exempt from tax on your goods if you already have your tax residency changed to Portugal.
Okay, and so baggage certificate is a normal part of moving. It's just that it might be of more importance to some people than others, right?
Yes, but then with that change of residency, you need to go to the Portuguese consulate and ask for the luggage certificate.
Okay, great. Thank you for that question there, Gail, and thank you for your answer, Gilda. Susie's come back. I think that's all sorted now, isn't it, with the coverage of prescriptions? If it's not, Susie, let us know. Happy sailing, Daniel, from Rebecca. And thanks to Gilda there. Makes me feel so much better, the answer to the question there about the NHR. Lynette has a D8 visa appointment in London tomorrow. London seem to be performing pretty well, don't they, Gilda?
Yes.
Yeah, it would appear so. Applied, Arup, this is a question for Arup on the chat here in Zoom. Yeah, if you want to be part of this, join up as an Expats Portugal member. If you're doing that this evening, do let us know. And we'll go to questions. We prioritize questions on Zoom here, and then we go to YouTube, which we'll do in a moment. Applied for renewal of residency cards online in early November 23, says Arup, awaiting delivery of new cards. Does it take such a long time? Is there any way it can be followed up, tracked online? They stopped printing residency cards, didn't they? What's going on with the printing of cards?
I think that they just start reprinting them last week. So
Right.
maybe.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
All right, so the printing presses of such documents have started again. That's good news to hear in Portugal. And yes, this D8 then of Lynette's in London, appointment made 18th of December, 12-month rental agreement is dated to start 1st of March and not registered at Finanzas. Could Gilda confirm if I will be able to get NHR on that?
You comply with one of the requirements to be in this regime, which is making an appointment before the end of December.
Okay.
But I advise you to search for help once your visa is approved. And regarding the NHR.
And to get the rental agreement registered at Finanzas, ask the
yes. But the problem is that the lease agreement is only going to start in March, so it can only be registered after that. All so right. once the visa is approved, she will need help for that. Okay, because so I know that the tax office is they will need someone that it needs to be argued with the law.
Yeah, a bit of pushback from a professional who knows what they're doing. So reach out to Gilda and Duarte when it comes to doing that when the time comes. And good luck with that, of course, Lynette. Arup, I think, yeah, we've answered your questions about the printing of the residency cards there. Lynette's question, Alex, on the D7 visa, I understand the requirement is to be in Portugal for 8 months. This is one of the classic questions, I think, here right, from Alex. On D7 visa, I understand the requirement is to be in Portugal for 8 months during the first 2 years. Can I possibly work for more than 4 months outside Portugal for the US Department of State? So that will be up to a 6-month total. Are those sort of circumstances permissible? You're doing the mental maths, aren't you? I can tell there. I'm going to start calling you Yogi, like because you've got a big pause. Have we got
no, the thing is, well, someone helping me with the maths.
Right, okay. All right, we can come back to you on that if you like. All right.
No, please help me. So he's going to work 4
Gilda,
months.
let me just point out, nobody asked me for help with maths, all right? So this might be for you, Daniel. On the D7 visa, I understand the requirement is to be in Portugal for 8 months during the first 2 years. Can I possibly work for more than 4 months outside of Portugal for the US Department of State, up to 6 months in total? Well, that sounds all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So 4
Okay.
months in each year or 4 months?
Yeah, Alex, you might have to help us with that. Yeah, okay. Let's get the specifics from Alex, and we'll come back to that. Janine is asking about baggage certificates. How detailed does a list need to be? Do I need to list out all my personal electronics? Sounds like Janine might have quite a lot of personal electronics.
Yes, you need to list everything, and you need to estimate the value of it.
Do you need receipts on arrival?
No,
Okay, all right.
you need to give
your own personal estimate there. That's good to know. Okay. Donovan's got to go over there in Hollywood. But first, thank you, Expats Portugal. What a wonderful resource. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, Donovan. Go on, Alex. I think Alex was
Yeah. So yes, more 4 months each year. And are there any excuses to exceed 4 months?
Yes,
in each
there
year?
are excuses. There are excuses, but there are excuses for professional reasons, health reasons, and family reasons. But in your case, because you are going to present a D7, professional reasons are not going to be the best reasons.
Okay. So what?
So maximum 4 months then, right? Per year.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Alex, thank you for that.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
For the 1 year lease requirement, could this be a room or a cheaper housing arrangement? Are there agencies that can help to secure these types of places? Now, this is becoming a more popular request, isn't it, Gilda? Houses in multiple occupation, people getting rooms rather than a whole house, for example. Can Casa Portuguesa help with that? And presumably, if you've got a rental agreement, it doesn't matter on the size of the property that you're staying in.
Well, no, it doesn't. What is required is that the rental agreement it's for 12 months and it's registered.
Okay, and
Of course,
regardless of the type of property, whether you're living in a
Yeah.
million dollar mansion, a room in a shared house.
What some people do is that they are afraid that the visa is not approved. And but this is only I only advise for like risky applications
Okay.
that they don't know if the visa is going to be approved. They don't want to spend a lot of money in a 12 months lease agreement. So in that case, sometimes I even suggest to rent a room or to rent like a small house that even if they don't want to live there before, at least they only spend a little money on that,
Okay, so you
just
can help
for the
with that.
visa.
Perfect,
Yeah.
Lloyd. Yes, Casa Portuguesa can absolutely help with that. Wonderful. Just before we go over to YouTube, then Janine is asking, how do you get a residency certificate? I have my visa. Are you talking, Janine, possibly about the baggage certificate there? I wonder if you could clarify that. I believe this is one for you over on YouTube, please, Daniel. A few questions over on YouTube, starting with Joanna. Okay, so this was quite a complex question. And to do with citizenship. Hi, I know that to apply for citizenship after living 5 years in Portugal, my birth certificate must be valid for 6 to 12 months. But getting a new birth certificate from my country is very complicated. However, my birth certificate was issued and apostilled years ago with a note saying it's valid for life with no expiry date and none of its data changes with time. Part 3 of this question. So my question is, when applying for citizenship, will my birth certificate, which was issued years ago, be accepted because it has this note on it? Will that fly with the Portuguese authorities, Daniel?
Well, I haven't seen that happening, and they always request a new birth certificate. And this is due to the reason that the birth certificates in continental Europe, they usually evolve with your life.
Right.
If you get married, you'll have an annotation on the birth certificate. If you get divorced, the same. If you die, there's an annotation on the birth certificate. So it's a way of the Portuguese authorities that they have to control the ins and outs of someone's life. And this is the reason why they request an updated birth certificate. And it's usually issued within the last year, and it needs to be apostilled. So I don't think that unless there's a specific document that states that that document is valid and issued it within the last year, or a document that clearly states that that specific country doesn't issue a new birth certificate, then I would say that that person will get a notification from the Portuguese civil registry stating to deliver a new birth certificate. So in short, the application can be delivered with that old birth certificate, but with a good degree of certainty, a notification will come from the registry requesting a new birth certificate duly apostilled. So our usual advice is that the process should be submitted with all the documents already with the new and updated documents, so we are not receiving any notifications. And because the process takes such a long time, if you get, if the cogs stop and the process stops and it tracks, then the applicant is losing time. So we try to deliver only processes that are completely clean, but in some specific situations, we do deliver with the documents that we already have, while the client is obtaining the new documents. So we're trying to save some time. But that needs to be assessed. My blind advice is to obtain a new one if possible. If not possible, then a letter to the registry should be submitted explaining the situation from top to bottom. So if possible, obtain a new one. If not, and it's not just being difficult, it's impossible to obtain a new one, then some explanation should be provided to the civil registry here in Portugal.
That's great, Daniel. Thanks. There you go, Joanna.
I have something to say about that. Sorry, okay. Daniel. I had the experience with that before, with SEV, when they ask for family reunion for birth certificates. And I know that at least there are 2 countries that they don't reissue birth certificates, India and Russia. They don't reissue, okay? And the way that we found out to come across this problem was to ask to the embassies here in Portugal to make a statement explaining that these countries don't reissue birth certificates. They only have one, and that's it.
Okay, thanks both of you, Daniel and Gilda. We're coming up to the last minute or so, so let's crack on with as many of these as we can. Brief answers if possible, please, folks. We've got the Nanu. Tomorrow, I'm completing 60 days waiting for the D2 visa approval, 60 days, including both business and non-business days. We'll drop a mail to the embassy anyway, and then maybe another mail when I complete 60 days, 60 business days. I think that's just a statement. So yes, good luck with that, Nanu. From Andrew, Daniel, we got married in our home country while residents in Portugal. We updated wife's surname and marital statuses with SEF. Need to do anything else to ensure citizenship application is okay when we apply? Specifically concerned about the surname change and if we need to do anything else before applying. Good question from Andrew.
It is indeed a good question. Basically, the documents upon the submission of the nationality will need to be, the names will need to coincide in all the documents. So the marriage certificate and the birth certificates and the passports will all need to coincide in terms of the names. In some specific situations, the name change will not be added to the birth certificate. So you can have the birth certificate with the original name, but then on the marriage certificate or on the marriage license, something will need to state the new name that was adopted upon the marriage. And then the passport, the most recent identity document that that person has, should have the updated name. Regarding CEF and residency cards, the marriage should be communicated to CEF to update the cards, and therefore once those applicants are requesting a nationality, they will have their updated names within the CEF's or AIMA's registry here, and they can use that updated registry to request the Portuguese nationality. So it's indeed quite relevant to have the name updated within CEF, so the nationality process goes smoothly at that time. And it's really, really relevant to have a document that demonstrates the name change upon the marriage.
Brilliant. Thanks, Daniel. We're going to draw to a close. I have got my big Portuguese question, which I always like to ask. So we'll make it a very quick one tonight. And it revolves around football and talk of Portuguese football. But we're going to talk about proper football now here among our Portuguese panelists. And Steve, I'm going to come to you as well on that, and Ramal too. Just very quickly then, Janine is saying, how do you get a residency certificate? It wasn't a baggage certificate. I think maybe then, we didn't get a lot of information from you, Janine, but I'm thinking it's residency card. It will be sent, won't it, Gilda? Eventually.
The residency card?
Yeah, the cards get sent in the end, don't they? You don't go and get them. They get sent to you if they ever get printed.
Yes, once you have the visa. So with the visa, most likely you will have a CEF IMA appointment. Once you go to the appointment, it's another procedure with some other documents. And she said it's for the application of the luggage certificate.
It's probably the Certificado da Junta de Freguesia, Gilda.
No, she says luggage certificate.
So what do you make of that?
It's the requested to submit with the luggage certificate. Yeah. It's the certificate. Okay. So you need to go with the, you have the contract, the lease agreements. You need to go to the parish from you have the lease agreements, and you need to request a certificate that you live there.
So in Portuguese, that would be the atestado from the freguesia. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there for the questions tonight. Thank you, everybody, for asking your questions. A very chock full of information tonight. Let's go to that all-important football question then, so that people can learn about proper football when they come to Portugal here. And I'm going to ask you, I'll stay with you, Gilda, to say suggest or even demand which team people support when they come to Portugal when it comes to what they call soccer.
When they come to Portugal.
Yep.
They will all talk about Benfica.
Excellent. I don't think Nuna's going to agree with you somehow. Daniel, what do you say about that?
I don't agree also because I'm not from Benfica. I don't want to say that I agree, but all of them come and they say, "Oh, I want Benfica. I love Benfica.
There are eagles already flying.
I want to support Benfica. I want to support Benfica." So
they are the equivalent of Manchester United, of course. Daniel, what would you say to that?
Well, Sporting for sure.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Great job tonight. Nunu, I think you've only got one word as well, right?
I don't know much about football, but I think that Daniel is very wise.
There you go. Romain, are you a football fan? Which team do mortgage people follow?
Well, I don't know for the mortgage, but the French one will support the PSG, of course.
Of course, yes. Who occasionally show up here in Portugal as well, right? So Paris Saint-Germain for Romain, maybe as a European football team. Do you have a Portuguese favourite as well?
Well, I love Benfica as well, especially with I've been super surprised. First time I've been to the stadium with the eagle flying around. So if I would choose, it would be Benfica for sure.
You see, the question that Carl did, it's not the team you support. It's what is the team that the foreigners that come here support? Thank you, Roman.
I'm the example.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we got 2 for Benfica, 2 for Sporting. Steve, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you suggest? That they take up golf instead?
Golf. They probably never heard of cricket, which is probably my sport, so they might as well go with stick with golf. Be very more popular over there.
I've got plans to help with the creation of a cricket pitch in the Algarve, because a lot of the immigrants coming over from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from India, of course, love to play cricket. So maybe we will get to play cricket in the south.
Well, I'm in, Carl. When you do it, I'm in. Trust me.
Fantastic. See you there. It could be sponsored by Spine Effects. That's fantastic.
Definitely.
Diana says we Ameriphones can pronounce Benfica, so that's probably why we say we support it.
Well, Carl,
I love that.
I'll just add something. You said that a foreigner comes to Portugal, and what is the club that he should support? Well, Sporting is Sporting Club of Portugal.
It's true, isn't it? SLP. You couldn't make it any easier.
It's the only club from Portugal. It has Portugal in the name, so it must be Sporting.
Take it from a real fan.
Let me reply to Gilda.
Yes.
I said that it seems that Daniel did a wise answer. So assuming that foreigners are also wise.
The intelligent choice. Okay. Now, I intended that to be a simple question. Obviously, if you're talking about Benfica and Sporting, it's never going to be simple. I should have realized that. Thank you, Dream Team. You've been amazing. Over to you, Astrid.
Sporting. Thank you, Carl. A great turnout again. Very, very informative. Thank you, everyone from the Dream Team. We'll see you here next Thursday, same time, same place.
Superb. Okay, and don't forget Jackie's wonderful webinar, looking behind the scenes, deep diving into some of the finer points of Portuguese life that you're not going to find out about anywhere else. Join us for that at 7:30, and the Dream Team again at 9. Thanks, Dream Team. Thanks, Astrid. Jackie.